Today's video is sponsored by our good friends at Famous Faces and Funnies, located in Melbourne, Florida. Check out their Facebook online auction on the link below. Along with our friends Docking Bay 94, located in Boca Raton, Florida. Check us out on comicsandgames.com. And EGS Expert Grading Services, the Gen X place to get your comics graded and in case. And look at the amazing custom job they did on my Elvira. Wow. Click on the link below to see how you too can get the same treatment. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shibu Are You. Of course, we've always featured iconic 80s franchise like G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Voltron, but we also featured another icon in the 80s that is still going strong, and that is none other than Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And last year, for our Halloween special, we took a look at her second movie, Haunted Hills. And immediately, the biggest comments I got was people had no idea that there was another Elvira movie after the famous Mistress of the Dark movie. But yes, this movie is excellent in its own right, paying homage to classic Hammer horror movies, just making fun of Elvira herself. The humor is just excellent. And again, one of the reasons why I've always loved Elvira is just because her humor itself. I think it's hilarious. It puts you in an innocent frame of mind. Innocent, but a little naughty, you know what I mean? So, of course, there's two obvious reasons why people are fans of Elvira. But it's always been her cheesy jokes that just make like dad jokes, kind of. That's how I align that as. But we're big fans of Elvira on this channel, and we are lucky. We even had Mistress of the Dark comic series, David Avalon, do a Q&A with us right here on the channel. So those are two episodes I highly recommend you go back and watching if you're watching this. Well, it's September, beginning of September. We're kicking off the Halloween season. You know, last year was kind of shitty, so let's start off right. And what better way to start off than with Elvira Meets Vincent Price. The title alone should make you chuckle. So we're going to do a recap of this issue and why it's just something I can't miss for any Elvira fan or any fan in general. So there's still copies of this. It's a continued series. So if you haven't, visit your LCS and ask for this issue. So let's start looking at Elvira Meets Vincent Price. In preparing to make this video, it dawned on me and kind of sad that there's a whole generation that may not know who the hell Vincent Price is. And that is the tragedy right then and there. But you think about it, there's no like designated horror actors like he was and Christopher Lee for a while. And, you know, that just now everybody wants to diversify their portfolio. But man, Vincent Price was the B-horror movie go-to. Now, Price passed away back in 1993, but not before filming Edward Scissorhands. Yes, that's a little trivia question. His last role was in Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands opposite Johnny Depp. Now, if you're one of those millennial or 20-something YouTubers with the Star Wars channel because you think you know everything about movies, do yourself some real homework and go back and watch Vincent Price horror titles and see what acting really is. Wow, the guy was amazing. As we do in all of our comic recaps, we begin by looking at the variant. Now, with this being a Dynamite Publishers offering, and for some reason they just love to overdo it, I count 23 variant covers. So I'm just going to feature some of the ones that I like. And of course, this one's by John Royal, and we're good friends with him on this channel, so I, of course, have to get that. And the cover variants, the picture variants. I love these, so Famous Faces knows to put this aside for me. And here's just all 23 of these covers. Again, check with your LCS and see which one you get. But it's what's inside that is a treasure to behold. And now this started as a Kickstarter campaign. And there's actually another Elvira comic series coming up called Elvira Takes on Con. So, like Comic-Con. So that's going to be funny as well. But again, you know, just contact your LCS and see which cover they have for you. We begin with Elvira and her agent conducting a pitch meeting to network execs with the monkier names of Deadflix and Hulu. It in itself is pretty damn funny, making fun of Hulu and Netflix respectively. Now, right off the bat, she pitches her adventures being chased through time by Vlad the Impaler, basically recapping her last comic series. The execs shoot this down immediately. Now, both her and her agent leave empty-handed and a little dejected. She returns home to Gonk and dives into a depressive state, wondering if in fact her career is over. Now, a side note, I like how artist Walter Perea colored in her stockings. I know it sounds a little weird, but I really appreciate the colors he used to kind of convey that sheer look that she's known for having. I know, but I just think that's kind of cool. So after her 8th margarita, she is instantly jumping into a new scene and scenario. Now, something we're familiar with from her last series, the time jump and just the whole new scenery. That was what happened in the last series. But this time she's strapped to a stone slab, kind of replaying her famous scene in the Haunted Hills movie. The executioner stating that this is marking the end of the career of Elvira. And like I said before, writer David Avallone does an amazing job with the little dialogue and the comebacks that Elvira is known for. In that way, he fully captures the spirit of the character and all her little trademarks. I'll leave that up to you guys to enjoy when you pick up this issue. It is really hilarious, just the back and forth banter that she does with the executioner. When out of nowhere, Vincent Price comes and saves her. Yes, this is a dream. So basically, I guess you could gather, Elvira is drunk. So Vincent Price is actually using this as a way to get a hold of Elvira. He's trying to recruit her to help him out on this quest he has. And just when he's about to tell her, she wakes up and then she doesn't know if it was a dream or what have you. And, you know, weird things have been happening to her, so she's not also that surprised. Let me make a quick correction. You know that gentleman that she was sitting with when she was talking to the networks? That was basically like a creative collaborator that she was working with. Her real agent calls her and shows the fact that he pitched the idea and got another person, a younger person, basically stealing her idea. And this just, you know, sends Elvira off the edge and really depressed. So she decides to watch a Vincent Price movie. And again, Vincent Price shows up and kind of using the movie screen to say, hey, invite me out, because he's a ghost, obviously. So he has to be invited in. And of course, Elvira obliges and says, please come in and talk to her. She's just shocked because, you know, how iconic Vincent Price is and how much she, like, endures him so much. I mean, he's such a staple. And she's just basically like, all right, come, let's talk about it. So Vincent Price begins explaining what he's after and what he needs her to help him with. One more time, Price reassures her that she isn't hallucinating or drunk, that he's 100% real. He asks her if she recalls this infamous movie called Rise of the Ram. Again, Price reassures Elvira that she's not drunk and not hallucinating. He's 110% real. He also asks if she recalls this infamous movie called Rise of the Ram. See, in 1972, a really famous movie critic wrote a terrible negative review about this movie, and so did several noteworthy publications. Well, the joke ended up being on them because such a movie did not exist. But Vincent Price indicates that, yeah, this movie does in fact exist, and he puts her on the quest to find the last remaining print of this movie and release it to the world, because it could very well save the fate of the world. And that right there is what makes Elvira comics awesome. They are silly, ridiculous, and put a smile on your face. The absurdity of it is just inviting and just a welcome from the normal stuff you get in comic books. So they head over to this old studio, and the appearance of it echoes that it once had a former glorious past in old Hollywood. And they're there to meet some shady old producer that Price knew back in the day, as he may know the whereabouts of this film. The shady producer is delighted to see Elvira. I mean, you would be too if those two things were staring back at you. But he's also flabbergasted, you like that word, upon seeing the ghost of Vincent Price. Like the ghost of Christmas past, Prince warns the producer, "You better do this or your soul will be damned, and crime against the world if you don't oblige." The producer is just wigging out, begging them, "Don't say that name, don't utter that name, you don't know what's going to happen." Kind of like, Beetlejuice. When all of a sudden a loud boom and lights appear. This Egyptian god who calls himself Amun-Ra vaporized the producer and is now standing before Elvira and Vincent Price. Now let the crazy shit begin. Again, this is why I adore Elvira comics. They're hilarious. You're not supposed to take them seriously. And whenever you read them, you get a huge smile on your face. So if you haven't, I highly recommend picking this issue up and continuing on with the series. Well, this is Shabu, signing off.